At Finnegan, we're lucky to have a broad range of pro bono programs focusing on the marginalized in our society. We represent children, veterans, asylum applicants, people charged with crimes, almost anyone who comes to us in need.
The cases that we work on are cases that were originally handled at the VA by the Disabled American Veterans, the DAV. The types of cases we see fall into two primary categories: claims for service connection of a disability or claims for an increased rating. But we end up representing on the order of 70, 75 appeals every year, and that's a substantial commitment of time and effort. But I'm very pleased to be able to tell you that of those 70 or 75, we win upwards of 60 of those. We get a lot of positive feedback from veterans, and I know it affects our lawyers who work on those cases very dramatically. They are really moved by the success that the veteran experiences in finally getting the benefits they're entitled to.
In our appeals cases, if we prevail, which we do most of the time, we're entitled to attorney's fees. We look for ways to use them to help veterans in other ways. The USO, and particularly here in the Baltimore, Washington area, has the USO Lounge at BWI Airport, and we thought that was a terrific way that we could help.
We've had an incredible relationship with Finnegan. They've been supporting us. In fact, Finnegan actually approached us in 2009, and since that date, every year they have supported us.
The MSPB is the Merit Systems Protection Board. It's a court part of the government, and it's where employees of the federal government can go to appeal wrongful terminations or other actions that have been taken that they feel were incorrect.
Oftentimes the cases we see coming to the MSPB involve discrimination, they involve whistleblowers. We recently had a great success at the Federal Circuit with our MSPB program. We represented an employee from the Center for Disease Control at the Federal Circuit who was involved in the HIV/AIDS programs. He was in charge of collecting and analyzing data that they were gathering in multiple surveys. He found several problems with the data that was being collected and reported that to his management and was retaliated against. He filed a complaint, a whistleblower complaint, but it was dismissed at the jurisdictional stage very early on a technicality. We were able to take a look at this case and analyze it and come up with some great arguments and present them to the Federal Circuit, and we were lucky enough to get a unanimous precedential opinion that really set some new law in this area for MSPB litigants and what is required in their complaint.
What I find most gratifying about it is this is giving young associates at our firm an opportunity to argue at really the highest level at the Federal Circuit, performing a service not only for a pro bono client but also for the bar.
We have fortunately been very successful at having our clients obtain asylum and their families' derivative asylum in the United States. The refugees that we represent come to us because of a long-standing relationship that we have with an organization called Human Rights First. The most meaningful case that I've worked on in our asylum program is the case of a young man from Rwanda whose most of his family perished during the genocide. He survived but testified against genocide perpetrators and was subsequently targeted. When he was concerned, he tried going to government officials and found that they were not helping but instead attacking him as well, and that formed his basis for seeking refuge and safety in the United States. The pro bono asylum program is incredibly satisfying on many different levels. You get to work directly with people who come from other parts of the world where there are genuine human rights violations, and you are able to represent them and bring them to the United States and meaningfully change their life for the better.
The Children's Law Center is essentially the public defender service for children in the District of Columbia. They service, I believe it's about 5,000 families a year. families in crisis, children involved in the abuse and neglect system. For the CLC, we handle basically two kinds of cases. One is family permanency. That is a caregiver, sometimes an aunt, an uncle, a foster parent, anybody sort of who's been involved in the child's life who seeks to make that relationship with the child permanent. And we also represent children in custody cases. The District of Columbia Court asks us to represent children as guardians ad litem in cases in which parents or caregivers are competing for custody of a child. Our role is to weigh in and inform the court what we believe is in the best interests of the child. It's a huge responsibility, but frankly, a lot of fun. At Finnegan, attorneys of all levels get involved in our pro bono cases, and specifically with the Children's Law Center. First years, second years, partners, there's a space for everybody to provide sort of the best value and service they can to our clients. It's important for Finnegan and all firms to get involved in pro bono work because it's the right thing to do. We live in and enjoy the benefits of a great city, the District of Columbia. And the firm across the country, in great places, Palo Alto, Boston, Atlanta, Reston. All of these places, we believe it's our responsibility to give back and help essentially take care of the community in which we work.